Your team determines everything. It's your environment. It is your prerequisite to being successful as a life insurance agent, getting to $40,000 a month or scaling your agency to $1 million a month. There are a few specific requirements. I'm going to be breaking it down in this video. My name is Trey. I'm the owner of Agent Lead Lab. In the past 3.5 years, we've helped over 550 agents issue pay 40K, specifically leveraging and using our leads. And on this channel, all I do is try to focus on the concepts, methodologies, and practices that those agents use. So as always, please make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and let's hop right into the video. All right, cool. So first things first, I think this is super important. It's very, very, very underrated that environment begets success. All right. Now, in a lot of spaces, we like to think that, I talk a lot on this channel about like buying leads, working leads, but the most predictable determining factor of whether or not your agency or you as an agent are successful is your environment. What do you mean, Trey? How do people call the leads? What is it like from the morning? Do you have meetings, right? So we're going to walk through all of this, and this applies to each of them. For a solo agent, your environment equals your success because it teaches you the behaviors, methodology. As an agency owner, the environment that you create makes a culture. All right, I watched one of my, I wouldn't consider him my friend, but we work together. If we know each other, it's like, yo, it's good. His name's Stanley Smith. He's at a company called FFL. Dude's killing it, right? But I remember even when I met him, he had a different mentality. Like his mindset was, yo, like it has to work or it has to work. A lot of people in the life insurance space don't think like that. And it doesn't surprise me that his team is killing it, that his average agent is doing, 23 or 24K a month, that their AP is through the roof, that they have some of the top writers in the entire company because he's created a culture. He's literally established a culture that started with himself. He was spending like 1,500, $2,000 a week on just final expense leads with me. I'm like, yeah, this dude is different. Like he gets it. He understands it. And then all he did was when he built the team, he just bled that culture and bled that culture. And the next thing you know, he blew up. So the reason why I say that is because a lot of times we think that as an agency owner that we need to just go find better talent. And yes, you are kind of right? Like you do need to go find dogs, but dogs want to go play with other dogs. They don't want to just come out and be like, oh yeah, like I'm going to chill. Like if you got that environment rocking and you got killers, like more killers are going to want to come around. It's just simple. Like you're going to create the environment that allows there to be success that's breeded. And they just follow the leader. So if you're not a leader and you're not a dog and you're not putting that out, then you're not going to get those people. If you stop dialing at 7 or 6, if you don't stay late, if you don't do whatever it takes to put the client in a better situation, if you're not working the phones, if you're not overcoming objections, like what do you think is going to happen? Right? Culture is everything. No matter what it is, culture is everything for my company. Culture is everything for every single business that's being built, whether you're an individual agent or agency owner. The difference is when you're an individual agent, the culture creates your initial success. It gives you momentum. But when you're an agency owner, culture controls everything down to how your team handles chargebacks, how they handle failures. If you lose a leg, what happens? How you can think through frames of recruiting and finding the right people. Because yes, it can help you if you're not the greatest agent and you go into an environment that just is just oozing with like, yo, I gotta get it. Like if it's not tolerable, right? I use football. So for me, all I'm used to is environment. Like you got to create an environment where you're like, yo, I'm just around people that are just dogs. Like it's like, and I say that because a lot of times we're so soft now. It's like, oh, we don't want to do this, and like we're gonna complain. And it's like if you get an environment where there's no rah-rah, there's no camaraderie, there's no excitement, it essentially is like it's dead. Like you're not, you don't feel in your heart like I'm going after it. Like I'm gonna make it happen regardless. What happens is if you had that internal drive in you and you go in an environment that's dormant, you're not going to win. It's like when the Chiefs were just doing their thing, because a lot of people know football. If you went and played on Patrick Mahomes' team, like I got homies that play for the Chiefs, they're like, bro, when you walk in there, he's not tolerating anything. You hear stories about Michael Jordan. And like every legend, they're like Kobe Bryant. He's like, bro, you're not coming out here and just playing any type of way. That applies if you are an insurance agent. Don't think just because it's not a sport that you don't treat it like that. Like you think about Bill Belichick, you think about all the great teams in sports. Insert your sport. I don't care what you play, right? If it's a team sport, let's say that. Because theoretically, nobody gets anywhere on their own. It's not like golfers have trainers, but they're not, nothing they really do outside of like their training and their preparation involves a team. The difference is that like when you're an agent and you come in, yes, there's a blueprint, but it's very, 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 very difficult. I have not seen it with any agent that's come in with absolutely zero guidance at all, nobody to talk to, look up to, have a conversation with, and crush it. Somebody got to give them the blueprint. Now, here's the thing: if that person who's already extremely ambitious gets put in the right environment, they're going to blow up. It is guaranteed. So what happens is when you create an environment and you are already that person and you go find people that are that people, that's how you grow. I'm just using Stanley as an example because that's what he's done. He said, "Hey, I'm going to go ahead and put everybody in person. I'm going to do it in my area. I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to be a dog. I'm going to go recruit more dogs, and then we're just going to grow." And it's really simple when you think about it, but it starts with you. So that's why at the top it says solo agent, right? Because doing this, creating an environment, is a variety of things. Let's talk about training. Like, you have to have the right training environment, right? How, when, who leads, right? What are the expectations? People don't even have expectations. It's like, yo, if you don't have any expectations, you're not tracking KPIs. Like, how in the world can you say that you're growing or that you're trying to get better? Like, at the end of the day, if you're not doing any of that, then what difference does it really make? You're not doing anything. It's like, it's an evaluation-based business. It's simple. Life insurance is so simple. People try to overcomplicate it. Oh, it's the leads. It's this. It's never the leads. I don't care what anybody says. It's not the leads. I can give somebody $1 lead and I give somebody a $55 lead. The person who dials the $55 lead is not more likely to close. He may be more likely to have a conversation, but he is not more likely to close. If you suck, you suck. If you're good, you're good. Simple. When you pay, you're just paying for the likelihood that you get the opportunity. How fast you get it, right? Which is going to be, they pick up, they know what it is, it's less friction, right? How frequently you get it. If you get 10 leads that are fresh, you're going to have a higher likelihood of getting more people to pick up and be willing to book an appointment than if you get 10 leads and they're aged. But it does not determine whether or not you will actually make more money. It doesn't. I don't care what anybody says. Because at the end of the day, if you're not skillful, you're not skillful. Now, if you are skillful, then obviously better leads equals better success. But if you don't have the proper training and proper expectations on how to do things, then you're not in the right environment. It's really simple, right? The next thing is recruiting, right? How are others in the environment bringing more people in? You're probably like, well, that doesn't really matter. It does matter. It really does matter. Because then if you think about it, obviously the highest intent lead, no matter what you're doing in anything in life, is going to be the word of mouth or the people that you know, right? Because if you are something, you attract those things too. So if you're somebody who works really hard or super ambitious, your friends and people around you, you probably have people that are similar to you. So you're going to be able to go find those people. And guess what? They probably have people that are similar to them. So that's how these teams grow really fast and really aggressively, because they just go find more versions of them in different verticals and different areas and demographics, some black, white, Latino, small, big, whatever, it doesn't matter. But you go find more versions of you. Well, if you're recruiting people through a mechanism that is like, hey, I'm doing word of mouth, I'm posting on social media, that like the growth is based solely off of how aggressive you are in what you do and how you do it. So if you know somebody's like, you know what, I want to make sure that I'm gonna, post on social media, I'm gonna do outreach, I'm gonna yes, you're gonna grow. Like you're going to grow because you already think in your mind, this is what I have to do. At the end of the day, it comes back to the same exact thing: your work ethic and how you view. But that can be shifted and created with your environment. So if you're around people who post all the time, post their sales, post their wins, it's weird if you don't. It's like, what are you doing, bro? It's just like if you get on a call, right? Which would be the next thing. It's going to be, daily accountability. Now, I put this differently because this is simple things like unmuting on sales calls. This is, showing up on time. This is not within the training. Training is like you improving your skills. Daily accountability is just this is like the first thing you can do, but the environment determines that. If you get on it, everybody's unmuted when they got a presentation. Like, do you not think that person will be way better versus you just sitting in the back and you're chilling and you're like, oh no, man, I got it. Like, and it's like, no, you don't. And even if you did, why would you not want somebody to hear you to correct you and be like, you should probably do it like this? It's super simple. Showing up on time. This to me is like the if you're in an organization where they allow you to be late and that just have no problem with it, you need to just leave. That's just not the right organization. Like, it's just that simple. Or if they don't even prioritize timeliness, it's like, yeah, I mean, cool, like whatever. And it's not like, what are you doing? Like, it should be, why? it starts at 8. Why are you here at 8:05? Why are you here at 8:02? Why are you here at 8:01? Why are you here at 8, honestly? But like, what are you doing? Like, it's just weird. And you treat it like you're just being weird. I don't know why everybody else is doing it. So you not doing it makes you just look like you don't care. Like, do you not care? You just start asking them questions. I think that knowing and understanding that is one of the key components that a lot of times get missed in all organizations, but specifically in life insurance, because a lot of times things are digital. That's why these factors are super important when you're determining scaling an agency. Because if I'm scaling an agency, yes, I could start it digitally, but in a perfect world, you'd want to have something in person, because it's like that is a human aspect that is so important. Like it's like everybody in the off season, I use sports, when they train, it's not the same as when you train together. Like the competition, the environment, it's not the same. You come in, you got music blasting, you got people locked in. They're like, okay, cool, let's go. Like, I'm ready to have a day. Like, let's lock in. Even just the thought of saying I'm going to the office, like you put on a whole different fit, you got a whole different swag. Like, everybody can't just lock in what they're in. Like, I'm the type of person, I can wear whatever and I'm gonna lock in. But some people really need to like put the jacket on, put the cologne on, and it brings up that thing in you, which leads me to the next thing, which is going to be appearance. Now, this is so important for the environment. Like, people think this is a joke, but it's not. Like, when you see somebody, unfortunately, we make predetermined, perception is reality. So when we see somebody, we already assume something in our head. Whether or not we want to say it or we don't, we're always judging. And I don't mean judging in a bad way, like, oh, you're a bad person or whatever, or you dress like this, so you're this, or you don't have money. I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about baseline. When you see somebody, something comes into your head, no matter what it is, no matter what they look like. I don't care what name. Like, that's just how our brain is wired. And that's okay. It's not a bad thing. So if you are around a team of people who do not prioritize, like, yo, this is what we're doing. Now, there's no good or bad, but that environment, you let me put it like this. People were like, well, it's like about the people. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let me ask you this. If I put you into an environment, you can tell me within the first few minutes what type of environment this in. If you walk in and it's people locked in, people walking around, they on the phone doing their thing, you feel like, oh snap, like I walked into something. Versus you walk in and it's like, what's going on? Or you get on Zoom and everybody's cameras off and people are kind of like this and talking like this, and cameras off, people kind of like this, and they're up in the sky, like, what's going on. Like, you expect your team to grow. You expect to grow in that environment. Like, can you? Yes. I'm not saying you're doomed, but you increase the likelihood for you to be successful depending on the environment that you're in. Sometimes you can control that. A lot of times you cannot, up into a point, and then you can. So an example of that would be, I'm an agent. I live, like right now, we live in North Carolina. I'm in North Carolina. I'm in Charlotte. I'm like, cool. I want to go to one of the Charlotte offices, like a cubicle or whatever. I'm in a company where they got different branches, different office. I go in there and I'm like, yo, this is just not the environment I want to be around. Like, I'm going in, it's like, and this isn't real. I'm just making this up. I go in there, I don't feel like the juice. It doesn't make me feel motivated. I go in my little cubicle, do my work, and I leave. Right? And I'm like, okay, cool. Now there's another office that's like 30 minutes down the road. I go try that one out. I walk in there, it's bumping. People playing music. People are super excited. They're like, yo, let's go. Like, what's your goals? We like, and you feel it. When you walk in a room, you know what type of energy you're getting. Now, as an agency owner, it's your job to create that. That's not just going to happen by osmosis because you just go get some people. Like, they feed off of you. So if you come in and you're juiced up and you're fired up, you're leading by example. It's literally like a quarterback that's like super quiet, like doesn't really say anything, versus the quarterback that's like, yo, we're going to go down the field, we're going to score. Like, this is what it is. This is how we're doing it. And everybody's like, whoa, this dude's mad confident. So they follow you. And then eventually you create a whole team culture that's just locked in. That's why they say for football, for example, the quarterback is the most important player because they are controlling the offense. Just like on defense, they say it's typically that linebacker because they are typically the one that's going to be calling the plays. Control. It's not that other players don't have impact, but it's that they feed off of that because they're the ones that create the culture. Now, your coach theoretically can create the culture, but without the right players in place, it doesn't matter. Which goes back to, you could have an amazing coach or you could be an amazing agent, but if you don't create the right environment to bring the right person in, you may be okay, but you may never get to great. You may be able to get to 500K, but you're not going to get to 1 million because you don't have any superstars. None. It's like, I don't know a lot of agencies doing 1 million a month that don't have a handful of superstars, let alone a whole squad full of superstars. The one that have a whole squad, they're pushing. They're like, yo, 1 million is nothing. I'm going to 2, 3, 4, 5. So they're just scaling up. It's like, well, if you think about it, that makes a lot of sense, right? They're like, yeah. It's like, okay, so the easiest way to do it is you create it, you get in an environment, whether it's successful or not. And in that analogy, I make the decision to say, well, I can go here, and yes, I'm a dog, I'm gonna work, but I'm not being challenged. I'm not in the place where I'm gonna grow. Or I can drive 30 minutes. And when I drive 30 minutes, I get in this environment. And when I walk in, I'm challenged. So you're like, okay, being challenged, I'm being called to. Now I know that this is probably where I need to be. Right. Now, the reason why I bring back the appearance is because that place, if I'm a betting man, probably has, when I say appearance, I do not mean strictly just your actual outfit. Because one would say that because I'm dressed like this, I do not have a clean appearance, right? Or I don't look, I don't have a tie on. There's tons of people that walk into an office with a tie and have no juice. And there's people that walk in with a t-shirt and they have no juice. When I say appearance, I'm talking about swag. I'm talking about demeanor. I'm talking about the way that you carry yourself, not necessarily actual apparel. I'm talking about the way that you appear to people. If you walk into a room, you know what I'm talking about. There's somebody that walks in a room and you just know they're confident. Like when I walk in a room, I'm like, I know what's going on. Regardless if I actually know what's going on. It's like, oh yeah, that dude's confident. So when you walk in or when your team walks in, what do you exude? Or when you walk into an environment, what happens? Right? It's like that appearance is that last piece, because you can have amazing training, you can have amazing recruiting, you can have daily accountability, but if you all don't perception of reality, you're not going to attract the right people who want to be a part of that if you're not giving them something. That's why there's, I don't love lifestyle marketing, but it works if you pair it with these other things. If you just do the appearance, you don't have the other things, then you just got people coming in saying they're about action, but not about action. And typically what happens is you won't be able to create that environment. You'll fake the environment, but you won't create the environment, right? Now, if you do all those things I just listed, you'll have a culture, right? You'll have a culture, because culture it doesn't say that you can plug somebody in who's really bad and they'll become great. It says that you can plug somebody in who's really bad and they'll get better. They won't stay stagnant and they'll be challenged. Now, what they decide to do with that, that's their own decision. Like, they have to choose greatness for themselves. But what you can do is if you put somebody in an environment long enough, they will shift and shape into some version of whatever that is. If it's in there, it will come out. If it's not, it won't. But they'll still be more doggy or more, they'll make more sales theoretically. They'll close more deals. They'll book more appointments. They'll have way more activity because of the environment than anything, right? Because at the end of the day, the training really is everything. The recruiting is how you would scale. The accountability is the things you can control, right? And then the appearance is also something that you can control. And that's just a confidence piece. And maybe I should say confidence when I say appearance, but to me, I feel like I can look at somebody and be like, yo, that person's really confident, regardless of what they're wearing. It's not about the clothes. It's just how they appear to you. And I'm saying that because perception is reality, not for most people. Now, when you think about it, understanding that if your job is to create that, then the question is, how do you create it, right? Well, if you're not leading from the front and you're not doing all things you do, if you're not developing, if you're not investing in yourself to have self-development, then what difference does it make? See, the interesting thing about life insurance is, as much as it is about selling and recruiting, it's also very much more than that, because you have to understand how to go through adversity. You have to understand how to get kicked in the mouth. You have to understand how to deal with chargebacks. You have to understand how to deal with the fact that everything's not always going to go your way. You might lose a big part of your agency. You might run into bad time. Like, there's so many other things that can go in, like it can in life. The difference, though, is that in the life insurance space, you eat off not the compounding work of a product or a service. You eat off the compounding work of other people and teaching and establishing the behaviors in other people to keep them going. If you're making $1 million a month and your whole team stops, you don't make $1 million a month anymore. There's no. It's not like, yeah, I made $1 million a month and like I'm gonna keep like 5,000 on the books. Like, dude, if everybody stops working, you're cooked. It's not like you can just go. And then on top of that, because if you've done a good job, then you've created a culture. Now, the beautiful thing is that if you create a culture and you create a bunch of little versions of yourself and you do all these things and people are consistent, you'll be able to eventually step away from the business. You will, because you have created and planted in something that will never die and that will carry forward. Like I'm a product of my previous upline. I learned how to sell from him. I learned all the different adjustments, nuances, how to say things, what not to say. And I am forever grateful. That will never leave me. I was exposed. I was put in an environment. When I was selling at the time, when I was at FFL, we had the highest average annual premium of the entire company. Like there wasn't, I don't think there was anybody. I think the next person was like $800, $900 off average app. So yeah, like that was our environment. Like it was known, like, dude, we're crushing sales. Like we're writing big premiums and we learned how to close people on value. And there's tons of other things. There's people that recruit the most. There's because they created their culture. But everybody that is doing a million, everybody that's doing 40, 50K, they have this. There's nobody that doesn't. They have a process, they stick to it, and it works. It's simple. Whether they're scaling their agency, whether they're training their teams or they're recruiting, or whether they're just selling as an individual agent. Now, I want to use a perfect example of a real life like example. So I have two partner clients. They're in the same building, and there's a difference in the teams. Both have great like expectate like the whole 9 yards, but to me, huge difference in the actual teams themselves. And I've also seen this with my well, actually, I won't even say that, but I've seen this with virtually as well. But in person is just like super synonymous because they're in the same building. I've seen this virtually on the same team. So when you're working with somebody that's doing a million a month, they'll have like their sub teams, right? These two teams are not doing a million a month. Let me just preface that. The other versions that I'm talking about that were digital, the same principle applied though. Same team, same building, same environment, but two different teams. One of them was in one big team doing a million. It was like one of them was doing probably 600,000. The other one I think was doing like 200. So they were like of their three legs, they were a pretty decent portion, right? Because you had 600, 200, 200. The other 200, they weren't at the time. I wasn't doing annuities, and they were kind of focused on annuities. So not annuities. I apologize. At the time when that happened, I was just doing final expense and IUL. The other team was doing mortgage protection. I wasn't doing mortgage protection at the time. I saw clear as day a stark difference between two teams inside of the same team. Then I saw two people in the same building, a stark difference. Here were some of the differences. Number one, how they trained. One group in both examples was a maniac in training. Like all they did was train. Like they trained all day. They had like group trainings, but they would have one-off trainings. They were trying to get agents up and running as fast as possible, paying for like it was. I was like, yo, this is crazy. The other group, they were doing that, but even just listening to their agents on the phone, they didn't even sound the same. They didn't have the same juice, the same swagger. The way they posted was different, right? The way they were recruiting was relatively the same. But one was like, they were like trying to create these concepts and coming up with cool names, like things to just get people excited and like moved. That's all they were focusing on. The other group, they were just like, yeah, man, it's cool. Like they posted, and it felt like big bro, little bro. That's kind of how it felt. Like one was just like, yo, I'm going to do this. And it wasn't towards each other at all. These are just two independent organizations just operating on their own. But I'm seeing it because I'm partnering with them, right? Then you talk about appearance. One was like very kind of laid back in their confidence. Not that they're not confident, but very laid back confidence. The other one was very like outward. Walked into a room, you could tell it was like, yo, let's do this. Like we're going to lock in like my whole squad. And it was just, thought process was like, let's just go, let's go, let's go. Willing to try things, willing to put up money, like the whole 9 yards, ask them to do things, ask them to shoot videos, like they were on it. Other group, nothing. Be like, yo, do this. And they're kind of cool, maybe. Now they still wanted the same thing. They're both going after $1 million a month. They're both trying to build their business. So you got two people that want basically the same exact thing. And so far, they are completely different, right? In the same building, though. Same thing happened with the virtual squad. One of them was focusing primarily on final expense. The other one was focused on IUL. Guess what happened? Final expense team grinding. IUL team complaining. Final expense team was willing to recruit anybody, all age demographics. IUL team was like, all age demographics. IUL team was like, we only want people that were financial advisors that can do annuities, all this other stuff. It's like, okay, cool. As far as like daily accountability, this group would start dialing at like 10 or 11. This group would start at 7 a.m., 8 a.m., right? This is my virtual difference. Then you talk about appearance. These people would wear a lot of suit and ties, nothing wrong with it in terms of like apparel, but then they were very like, I shouldn't have to do that. Like very, I don't even know how to use the word, but that would be their thought process. Then you had the final expense crew was just grimy, like gritty. They were like, hey, we're going to do whatever it takes. We're going to call, door knock, true people, fast people search, like look these people up. We're going to do whatever. So you have two very, very, very different demographics of people in regards to their appearance, how they carry themselves and their confidence. right? Now, the end result is that one agency, when we started, they were doing like 400. Now they're doing 550, going to push for 600,000. The other agency was doing like 250. Now they're doing like 200. One could say, well, Trey, it's you, it's the leads. I'm like, kind of. Was it inevitable that was going to happen? Maybe. I take full responsibility. If so, whatever, it doesn't matter. But I can say they both started around the same time for both of these, and they had two different outcomes. The IUL crew, what ended up happening is we kept getting them good leads, but they couldn't convert them because we actually got them too many leads that they didn't know how to work them because they were just like, oh, I'm going to start at 10 o'clock. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And they were just losing leads to the crack. The filing expense team, they 2X'd immediately. So they went from like 250 to 500 within 2 months because all we did was gave them better leads at a cheaper rate as a partner. And then they just ended up crushing sales. I was like, okay, that's super simple. The other group that's in the same building, same setup, one recorded the videos, the other didn't. Now, because the one group recorded the videos, their cost per lead, their quality of their lead, their overall success rate went up. They did lose some agents in the midst. And the other group, they never really got off the ground because they never recorded the content. They had a few people that did. They were kind of half in, half out. They had some people doing this, some people doing this, some people. They were just like, this is all we're going to do. Like, we're only doing this. We're only focused on this. And what I learned from that process, and the reason why I brought this up is because there are specific behaviors, I apologize, that determine whether an agent or an agency is going to succeed. To me, the number one determining factor is the environment. You almost know if a certain person gets around a certain team that they're going to do well. You think about Alabama back in the day. Even when I was planning on going to college, I was like, yo, these dudes are crushing it every year. Now it's different now because in college football, it's not even like business in a way because I mean it is kind of, but not like in the life insurance space because of the way that you set it up. Yes, you can go poach talent, but in the life insurance space, when you poach talent, you typically aren't getting the people because there's a lot of loyalty that lies in like, dude, you got to spend a lot of money on people when you're building a life insurance agent up. You got to buy their leads. You got to do a lot of stuff if you really want to see them win. But individually, though, when you think about, the best sports teams and the best cultures, you knew what you were going to get out. Going back to the Alabama analogy, you knew when you watched them what type of ball you were going to get. You knew what type of players you were going to get. You knew what Saban was bringing to the table. So every time that you watched them, you had an expectation, right? Well, environment begets the ability for you to have expectation. Because I expect when I go in here for it to be loud. If they have all these things, I expect this is how we train. I expect this is how we recruit. I expect this is how we hold each other accountable. And I expect this is how we dress and how we carry ourselves. And by dress, once again, how we carry ourselves. Potentially how we dress. If you're on a team where everybody's wearing suits and you walk in with sweats, you look like an idiot. If you're on a team where everybody's wearing sweats and you're wearing a suit, you look like an idiot. It's like, so if you walk in the room and everybody's got tats and everybody's whoop-de-whoop and you don't, it's like, cool, you can do what you want. But you kind of awkward. If you walk in the room and there's nobody tatted and you're the only person tatted and everybody's like clean cut, shaved, look like they're in the military, nothing wrong with it, but you're kind of like, you're not really fitting the MO. Now you can say that that's like stereotypical or whatever. You guys get the point that I'm trying to make. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to get at is the way that you carry yourself is also very important. If you have the expectation for all of those things, you're in the right environment. Now we can expect that you're probably going to be successful. So when I meet somebody, I know within like when they buy leads or I talk to them, I'm like, yeah, I already know if you're going to do well. I can just feel it. Like if you're willing to put your back against the wall and you don't complain, you don't like whine or say things aren't fair or whatever, you're going to crush it. Like it's not rocket science. At the end of the day, it's just numbers. Like even with our leads and our clients, like I think about it now more than ever, and I'm so grateful for my mentor now. Like he's just like, yo, just remove all the emotion. Just look at the numbers. Like you put this much in, you get this much out. You just have to trust it. It's how it works. The law of averages is such a real thing, and it is so real for this too. Agents that are doing 40K are only doing 40K as they do the things that 40K agents do. They put up the money, they're willing to invest, they put their card on file, and they don't complain, and they just go. You just got to go. You just got to say, commit first, figure out the rest later. Regardless of how it is, this is how it's going to work. It has to work or it has to work. That's like the mindset. It's not, there's no other hack. There's no other secret. There's no other sauce. That's what you have to do. If you're willing to do it, you'll do it. If not, you won't do it. And that's fine. But either way, it's not going to change that you have to do it. Whether you like to do it or you don't like to do it, you still have to do it. The theme is that you have to do it. Nobody wants to dial until 8 o'clock. If I'm an agent right now, I don't want to dial. 7 o'clock, the people are with their family. Is it comfortable? No. Do you really want to call somebody at 7? No. But like, theoretically, and I thought about this, I eat late. I was talking to somebody about this other day, and it was funny because we got Spanish leads rocking and rolling, and we got a Spanish agent. They hit us up today. They're like, "Hey, I'm working the leads. Nobody's picking up." I'm like, "Okay." I tell the rep, the sales rep, I'm like, "Yo, go look at their sheet. Go look at their sheet. Guess what I see? Day one, they call them in the morning, afternoon, no evening. Day two, they call them in the afternoon, in the morning, no evening. Day three, they call them in the morning. They call us and say they're not picking up." I say, "Hey, why don't you try to call these people in the evening?" And I see the timestamp. They're stopping at 5. I was there. If you stop at 5, you're not going to get people to, I don't care what, it's like, it's just simple. It's like, yes, you're calling people at 9 o'clock, at 10 o'clock, at 11. Why? Because that's easy and convenient. Nobody wants to dial at 7 o'clock. But you know what? If you want to make an ROI, you'll dial at 7. It's that simple. I didn't realize I eat at 7. So I was like, man, people eat. A lot of people don't eat at 7 o'clock. They eat at like 6, 5:36. They're eating right now. Me, I eat at 8 o'clock. That's what I do. But not to say that it's right or wrong, but I'm just saying, so if you call me at 8, I'm gonna be like, yo, hit me on the weekend. But a lot of people have already eaten. So guess what happens at 7:30? They're chilling. You think you're disrupting them because you want to chill at 7. But that's on you. You're deciding that. But if you're in an environment where everybody is still on Zoom, they're like, yo, it's 7, let's go. They're juiced. Do you think that you're gonna be like, oh, I'm not gonna call at 7? No, you're gonna call. You're gonna be like, yo, everybody else does. And then, dude, guess what's gonna happen? They're gonna be like, you're kind of weird. Why are you not calling at 7? Like, why are you calling at 4? Like, we're going to eat. We're going to the gym at like 2 in the afternoon because nobody picks up. So we're gonna call them from 5 o'clock to 8:30 because that's what we do. And we're gonna call in different times as we're gonna. It's like, because for me, the way I look at it is like, truthfully, like, really 6 to 8 is prime time money. Like, I'm banging 6 to 8 from Eastern, Central. Like, I'm just going back. Like, if you really, really, really are trying to get busy, that's the best time to call, theoretically. It's actually low key better than the morning. Because in the morning, people are moving around. You can get a few in the morning, but like, dude, if you're not calling after, like, dude, you're never gonna get sales. Like, you're just not. Like, I'm sorry. And I can go show you the timestamps on our agents that are crushing it. Literally, when you look at their timestamps, when are they calling? 6:30, 7, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, but 8 another person's time. 10 o'clock, but 8 another person's time. 11 o'clock, but 8 another person's time. 12 o'clock, but like, they're not, they're like, okay, cool. Like, it just has to work. I'm going to buy licenses in these states so I can work, and just, they don't care. There's no care in the world. They're like, okay, this is what I have to do. The more you think, regardless of how I feel, this is what I have to do, the better you will be. It's the life mantra of anybody that's just crushing it. Regardless of how I feel, this is what I have to do next. Regardless of how I feel, this is what I have to do next. Do I want to dial at 7:30? No, I'd rather probably go lay down, watch a show because I get up early in the morning. Who cares? That's what you have to do. It's what you signed up for. Until you build a big agency and you do this and you do that, you have to keep doing this. Do you want to? No, I don't want to do that. Okay, cool. Well, this is just what you have to do. So you have two options. Like, you can complain about it and say the leads aren't picking up because you're calling them when you want to, or you can just do the work. You can get up and stay with your agents. You can stay on the call with them and do whatever you need to do. You can eat dinner. Like, you got to do what you got to do, or you're going to make excuses and make complaints and just say it is what it is. It's nothing. It's not going to happen for you. You don't waltz your way into 40K by just buying better leads and think that you're going to close. You don't even waltz your way into 10K by doing that. You think you're going to waltz your way into 40K? It's like, and if you think about it, writing $10,000 is like actually absolutely nothing. You're writing $2,500 a week. That is like, what are you doing if you're not doing that? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, what are you actually doing? Because if you're writing $2,500 a week, that's literally like 3 apps most of the time, maybe 4. And if you're writing 3 apps in a week, especially on digital, how much are you really dialing? And how many leads are you buying? And how hard are you working the leads? And when are you calling the leads? And when do you stop calling the leads? And I bet if you show, that's why some, like, a new thing I was thinking about doing is, like, when people start complaining, I'm like, hey, how about this? I hear complaints. Show me your whole dial schedule tomorrow. Mark every single dial that you did off the leads. Just act like the lead sheet's completely new. Call tomorrow. Mark your whole dial sheet. I'm going to tell you exactly when to call. Call this time, this time, this time, this time. And then hit me up on the following day. So in 2 days, hit me up. Show me exactly when you dialed, how many times you dialed, and what they said. And you tell me. And I'm a betting man that they'll start getting people to pick up. Because I've had people hit me up and I'll call them, right? They'll be like, yeah, and I'll call them and be like, hey, did you call them now? They're like, no, I'll go grab my phone. I'll be like, yeah, cool. Looked at it. Perfect. Called the person. They picked up. So what are you saying? They're like, ah, man, whoop de whoop. Look at this. Just got a text message 30 minutes ago. Guess what this person said? Not a single vet pickup today besides the very last one. Haha, sold him. $33 a month, 40 grand. Sorry, 4 grand. So you mean to tell me that all of a sudden he's just better because he did that? No, he's just working the leads. It's not, it's absolutely not at all. Just working the leads. Just working the leads. 620. Get most people probably stopped at 5. Guess what? I bet he keeps working. I bet he keeps calling. Why? Because dude makes sales. Because that's what salespeople do. When you make sales, you make sales. You just do what it got to take. It's a mindset thing. But guess what? If he was a dog before, he already thought like that. You just put him in the right environment, it's over with. You get the right players on the right team with the right coach, you're going to win. You get the right agents in the right organization at the right location, you're going to win. It's simple. If you don't create the environment for the people that are good to come into, they'll never be great. If you don't create the environment for people that aren't that good to come in, they'll never be average or good. If you build your team on a bunch of people that are average or good, you'll still win. If you build your team on a bunch of people who are elite or good and turn to great, you're unstoppable. If you got a mixed combo, you're unstoppable. Here's the thing though, if you're just great and you don't go recruit people that are that and you don't have an environment, guess what you get? Inconsistency, chargebacks, and then you roll out of the business. And most people can't do that because not only that, in the other video I've broken down in terms of the characteristic traits they have, they don't actually care. Which you can go back and watch. I have a whole 40-minute video where I break that down of like caring and why that's so important for you to make money. You're not going to hit 40K months or build $1 million a month agency unless you care. That is the one byproduct. That is the thing that you just innately have to have or want to desire in your heart. You could be in the right environment. You could do all these things. But if you don't really care, honestly, you're not going to build this unless you care because you're not going to set up the training. You're not going to recruit people the way. You're not going to be honest and transparent. You're not going to tell them. You're not going to create the environment. Because if you think about it, like if you got people on Zoom and you don't really care, you're not going to ever tell them to unmute because to me, getting uncomfortable is at some point caring less about how you feel or how somebody else feels, but caring more about what is going to happen if you tell them that thing that's going to change for them. So if I'm like, yo, it's uncomfortable for me to tell my friend or somebody to unmute because they're not going to be good and we need to hear them mess up, then I care like, oh man, I really kind of care about what they think. But if I don't care about what they think, but I care more about their progress, I'll just tell them, hey bro, like you just got to unmute. Because right now what you're doing is you're not unmuting and we can't help you. And because we can't help you and I care about you, then I can't see you make money. And that would be me letting you down. Does that make sense? And they're like, yeah. And it's like, okay, cool. So next time, just go ahead and unmute. If you don't do that though, it's like you're showing people you don't really care. And everything, like if you're not going to create the trainings, you're not going to do all the different things. It goes back to what I said, and I'll wrap up here. It's why I create these videos. Do you think I like recording 40-minute long videos? Absolutely not. I would love nothing better than to keep talking and trying to close more business and more deals. But I realize that there is a very hard need from all the people I talk to that their uplines do not provide them with, that people don't understand and know how to scale and hit 40K or hit $1 million a month. They don't know anything about it. They're not around those people. They don't get that mindset. And they're like looking for leads and they somehow end up here and they watch my videos and I hope it can help. I hope that it can help. So if you're an agent and you want hands-on help to grow and to scale, right? And you are at 40K and have a team and or your agency is doing $250,000, $300,000 a month plus, and you're looking to partner up and have somebody come into your business. So a few things I need you to do. You can go to agentleadlab.com, right? You can book a call to speak with us. Our investment to get into working with us starts at 5K. Just going to let you know that. So don't book the call if you don't have 5K. Not trying to be rude. Here's your option if you don't have 5K and you're not ready to invest in yourself and grow, which is totally fine. Invest in yourself in a different way. And that's if you don't have the 5K and you don't have the agency, okay? The price is not 5K. Like there's a lot of different things. Just if you don't have at least $5,000, just don't book the call because it's letting you know it's just going to be a waste of your time. If you don't have 5K or you're like, I don't know you like that, bro, but I do kind of like what you're saying. There's a few things. Please like, comment, subscribe on the video. I really appreciate that. Push it out to the algorithm to more people you think need this. And or you can go to our website, which is Lead Lab CRM, if you'd like to grab some leads. We got everything from $1 leads to $55 leads. We're constantly coming out with new leads because I always find different problems in the marketplace and try to solve them by offering leads and offering concepts around leads to help people sell. What everybody else does is they just drop leads because it's hot. What I do is I say, well, what's hot or what's working? Why is it working? Let's create patterns, methodologies, and principles behind that to give to people. It's the same reason why I made instant IULs, and I'm a betting man. But you can catch this on record. It's December 15th. That probably by like February or March, there'll be companies out there offering IULs for like the teens. There's nobody was doing that. Nobody has been doing that. Whatever. I guarantee you, somebody will start doing it because we started a lot of the trends. People copy the swag, but they've been able to get away with it because I've been playing football. That's not going to happen anymore. So if you're an agent and you are like, dude, I want to tap into somebody who really cares, who really does want to see me succeed, go ahead and do that. Go to the website. There's tons of different leads. We're coming out with more. We just came out with our instant mortgage leads. Those are, as of this present moment, prices will always change. Those are $18 a piece. Minimum order for that is 50. Instant IULs are $15 a piece. Minimum order for that is 50, right? And the purpose of those leads is to let you guys know they're not like text verified, but they're also not AIDS. They're kind of like a middle ground. They're more of a volume. If you like working leads and you're the old school person that doesn't mind people telling you to kick rocks, but you need more volume to make sales, this is for you. If you have an agency and you like are trying to scale, you do not want to be buying instant leads. You just need to be buying premium leads because you get less leads, you make the same amount. Yes, your cost to acquire a client is higher, right? It might be a little lower. You might be in that 250 range if you're doing instants, but if you do text verify, you're probably going to be 350, 400 at the most, right? So you're going to close like 3-ish deals, like 2.5 to 3 deals consistently versus if you do the instant IUL, you might close 3 deals, but your cost to acquire a client is significantly lower because now you're paying $600. You close 3 deals, it's like 200. So you're saving about $100 to $125 per, your CPA. And that's typically where you're at, but you're buying your time with those leads. So as always, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I hope this video helps. I hope you guys got some insight and some thought out of it. And I will see you guys on the next video. Appreciate y'all. Peace.